Well, hey, you guys, as promised, here I am, and I'm going to take this time to do a review on the Arrow, which this is really exciting because this is pretty much a modern day Bigfoot coil. So if you own the MXT, MXT Pro, M6, or DFX dual frequency spectrum by White's Electronics, you will be able to use this coil, and you can see it's right there. Now, the cool thing about this coil is unlike the older Bigfoot coil that would ground balance funny, would like you'd have to tip it up and bring it down and this is a DD coil, which DD coils are excellent for hitting coins that are not necessarily flat. They can be at an angle, and it's 18 inches by 4. So it's probably, you guys, I've never owned a Bigfoot, but I bought this one because I could get it brand new for like I think I paid 190 for tax, shipping, and everything off of eBay. And I believe these are shipped out of Bulgaria. Now, one of the things that was really interesting is in the box from Detech, they come with a certificate and this nice sheet where this thing's actually warranted. Uh, and they even talk about a discount here. It's been licensed and warranted. So this company, which I believe it's in Bulgaria, uh, thank you for your order. In case of a problem, please contact me first. If you like the product, don't forget to leave feedback. This is my feedback, DTech. You have a great product. You can use this discount code in our store. So, and then they have a 2-year warranty covering the coil, which is pretty awesome. And also that coil, if you see that black stripping on the side, here, let me get it a little closer here. This coil, it comes with its own coil cover. But you guys, this is excellent. When you're out there sweeping with this, you're getting 18 inches by 4. And you guys, I covered an entire football field in one day. My first day ever using this coil, there's two things that I observed. I had a DFX, I had it maxed out in sensitivity, and like I said, you see me with this MXT and the M6 over here. But the first day that I used it, I noticed that the coil itself, let me stand that up. The coil itself, it was very accurate. The VDI readout. If I would go over a gold chain or something, I would get a foil tone like a 4 or a 6. It could easily sort a beaver tail from a pull tab, like a 16 or a 17 versus a pull tab could be a 22 for a modern one or a 27 to 34 or even 37 in some cases on the VDI visual discrimination indicator. Uh, so that's just kind of, these White's machines, in my opinion, are superior to what they're making nowadays because you get from negative 95 to positive 95. I mean, you have a lot wider range of accuracy. I mean, that just results in a better sweep, and you can hear the head and the tail of the object. I mean, White's machines, it's sad that COVID and whatever else caused this company to go out of business. So, in my opinion, and that's what I've done, I've purchased the machines that I wanted, and I have no intention of buying another metal detector. I realize there's MindLab this or something that, and I even tried the Simplex. I ended up selling my Simplex, and it is a good machine, don't get me wrong, and it's fully submersible. But in my opinion, the White's MXT Pro, M6, and DFX is for the real nerd out there because you really have to know your programming. But they're all using the same kilohertz frequency. Uh, all three of these machines that I just mentioned can interchange coils, and they're just and I'm not, I'm not hired by Detech. I'm not hired by Whites. They're out of business. I'm just saying, as far as metal detecting in this hobby, uh, these are the machines that I recommend. And I probably have about 600 hours behind the DFX, maybe 25 to 60 hours on the MXT, and the M6 is brand new. I haven't even taken it out yet. I bought that for my fiance. But the only thing about an M6, All it is pretty much an MXT Pro in the coin or jewelry mode. The M6 just doesn't have mode. It's just a park hunting. It has a beach mode. It does beach and just standard track, auto track, or track off. I mean, it's a lot simpler compared to the DFX, and you still get the audio tones. If you push the trigger forward, then you get audio tones too. You get a coin tone. The MXT Pro, you get audio tones as well, and I recommend that because it just makes hunting a lot more fun. If you just want to fill around and pull, you know, $5 or $7 a quarters, and I digress, you guys. I comment earlier. The first thing that I noticed when I was using this coil, the 18 by 4-inch DD coil, I found $7.50 in change that day, and I was only out there about 3.5 hours. And for me, that's probably double what I would find. But I never dug anything past 4.5 inches. That was the maximum depth, and I had this thing maxed out. If you turn the sensitivity up anymore, it would go into overload mode. I mean, it was maxed out. So you're only going to get 4.5 inches on a quarter. I mean, if the ground was kind of wet, you might get 5, but you're never going to dig anything past 5 inches depth. I mean, you're only going to get about that much depth. So that's enough, though. I mean, it's weird because, like for instance, with this coil right here, the DFX 3, I think this is an excellent coil. When I first got my DFX 300, I didn't really favor this coil. I got that accelerator instead, but I actually favor these over the accelerator today, even though the accelerator probably still could go deeper on a big target. I just, I don't know. This just seems to be a little bit more. Well, first of all, it's built and designed by Whites. It's not an aftermarket company, but you see, I like Detech. Detech is good, and their VDI numbers, that's one thing I'll say about Detech. They might not be licensed by Whites, but the VDI readout is the same. That accelerator coil, that big one, that 14-inch back there, that's a perfect coil for the beach. Uh, you get wide coverage, but it's heavy. And one thing I like about this new Arrow, it's light and it still gives the coverage. You just don't get the depth. You only get 5 inches of depth. This here probably is my deepest. I have more confidence in this coil to go deep even than the double D. And I'm not exactly sure. I'll show you guys something. I had a test board right here, and this is just with the MXT, but take a look. This is with max sensitivity, and you'll have to forgive my scribble there, but I was shaking. I had a dime. Let me get it to focus. A dime, a chain, a nickel, and then I had a 10 karat gold ring and an 18 karat gold ring and a $half. And those are the depths. I had the coil right here where my hand is, and I was shaking it. And I didn't, I was actually getting the depth where it would give a VDI readout. So if you want to pause the video, but when you see the 12-inch coil, you'll see there's the 9.5, and then there's the 12-inch, and then there's the 14. And those are these three coils. That's the 9.5, that one on the M6. That's the 14, and here's the 12. This little 5.3, 6.5, 7.5 maximum depth really on those, maybe 8 on a quarter. You're losing depth, but you're getting separation in a high trash area. That's a different ball game. But you guys, Whites makes good products. Just keep that in mind. And like I said, and that's one thing too. I'll say if you're a XLT user, or maybe you have the IDX Pro or something like that, I can get 9.5 inches on a chain with I believe it's 14 or 15 kilohertz. You guys, I didn't think about this before I made the video, but the DFX uses, I believe it's a 3 point something and a 14 point something. That's the dual frequency spectrum. While the older machines use 6.59, like the XLT or the IDX. So these machines have the 14 kilohertz something, and it's better for your low tones, your foil, your nickel, your gold. And I can tell you that if you're looking for gold, if you're mainly looking for small gold items like this little cross pendant here, like chains, small rings, yeah, the MXT, the M6, and the DFX are going to outperform the XLT. They just go deeper. This same little test board here, I put a Quantum 2 up here once. Uh, it wouldn't hit anything over 7. And for a chain, 3.5 or 4, it wouldn't get near the depth that these, I want to say 14 kilohertz machines will get because it's just better. It's more optimized for gold. And I realize today they have greater machines with greater kilohertz, but I'm telling you, these White's machines, these are where it's at for good metal detecting. And these machines that used to be $900 or something, now you can pick up on eBay for like 350 or less. So keep that in mind. The first day when I was at the football field with that modern Bigfoot coil, that's what I'm going to call it. I actually think it's probably better than a Bigfoot coil because, like I said, it ground balances normally. You're only going to get 4.5 or 5 inches, but you're going to cover a lot of ground. I was just you could turn up the discrimination to quarters only, and you could just every 2 minutes pop another quarter. That's how it was. I could have probably found just $12 in quarters, but I was digging all the gold tones because I was looking for stuff like this gold earring. I was looking for, and then I took this to another park, and I had four. I found four rings in one day. No, take that back. 2 days. I went for 2 hours, then the next day another 2 hours. And the fourth ring is not here because my fiance, I gave it to her. It was a little silver ring. But these were tungsten, and uh, I don't even think these are real silver, unfortunately, which brings me to another sad truth. Metal detecting is almost, as much as I don't like to say it, people just aren't wearing real jewelry today. So it's when you start finding this copper, with some kind of crappy plating on it, it's not even silver. And then tungsten, what is tungsten used for? I mean, like ammunitions or munitions or something. I don't understand how tungsten is a popular metal for rings. It's like the world got cheap and people are buying into it. I just don't get it. I have the gold standard. I mentioned my fiance earlier. I'm hoping to get married soon. And yeah, I got an 18 karat wedding band I already bought for myself, and I paid a good amount of money for it. But I wanted that 18 karat. I didn't want 10 or 14 either, and I didn't want 22 because it's too soft. And but you get my point. It's just people aren't wearing, like, here was this made me real happy. I found this little Jesus pendant, and it had a little uh that little piece at the top where it'd hang on a chain. And right when I pulled it out of the ground, I was all happy for a second. I'm like, praise God. Put me in a real good mood. But even this is fake. Uh, I found this medical alert bracelet that has somebody's information on the back. And this poor person, I mean, geez, diabetes, stroke, hypertension, allergic, aspirin. It's just all kinds of terrible. Uh, Yeah, the Bible says we are healed by his stripes. He died on the cross that we may have life and have it more abundantly. And through what he endured, God looks upon us with favor, and we don't have to suffer the same way. Hopefully, if God is merciful towards us because of what Jesus has done, we are healed by his stripes. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be wearing one of these, and thankfully the Lord has, I've never given it much thought, but I've always been pretty healthy. So I'm very grateful for that. But I stay very active too with my job. But you guys, I hope this has been somewhat educational. Yeah, if you have a MXT, an MXT Pro, an M6, or a DFX, and if you wanted a Bigfoot coil, but you did not want to spend $450 on a used one on eBay, go and get you the Arrow by Detech here. Waterproof, wide scan search coil, Detech. This thing is awesome, you guys. You won't regret it. Uh, it balances well. I can't. Okay, on my MXT here, you'll see the sensitivity settings. the gain. Let me show you. That's about as high as I can get. So I can't go into the oversensitivity, it'll overload, but I can get all the way to 9.5 or 10. So, and it does that on all the machines except for the DFX. It actually will, it doesn't overload on the DFX, it's just a different nature. I'd say I probably am getting the most depth with this coil on the MXT, but the DFX, you know, uh, at most a half-inch difference, if there is any. I haven't tested it enough yet, but I tell you what, ever since I bought that coil, the last 3 times I've been out detecting, that's the only coil that's been on my machine, and I have no intention to go back to any of these others unless I'm in an old farming area or something and I'm trying to find deep coins. That's when I'll have this one. And that 14-inch, unless I'm on the beach, I probably won't be using that because that gives me wide coverage and depth. And these 9.5s, if you're really looking for gold, I still think they're hard to beat because the VDI readout is probably most accurate on the 9.5 and on the 5.3. And that's one thing I want to say that the DFX does better than either one of these two machines. The DFX, with the DFX, see these machines, if I put this little brace, this little gold 12 karat necklace, if I just wave it in front of them, on the VDI screen, I'll get like a 2 or a 4, a 2 or a 4. On the DFX, I might get a 5, and it's a solid 5. And if the chain's a little bit bulkier, I'll get a 7. The DFX just seems to have a little bit more intelligent VDI readout. It's just more precise. So if you're only looking for small gold on sporting fields, the DFX is going to outperform these. But you're going to have to get that Jeff Foster book and learn how to program it and use it properly with all the preamp gain and the block and disc edit. And I have videos on this type of stuff, but it's custom programs where you're getting the most out of it. You got to, nerd out a little bit and learn how to use it properly and get you a test bed and start playing with it, or at least do a bunch of air tests and get all your discrimination stuff right. And if you're really good at it, you can discriminate out the pull tab. And, you know, like when I go out to the field nowadays, I'm looking for foil tones and then stuff in the 40s and 50s, larger rings. I mean, it's especially with that arrow coil back here. I mean, I can do a whole football field and pull up every oddball tone, and I've been literally doubling my finds because of that arrow coil. That is an awesome coil. So I just want to give a shout out to Detech on that. Again, here was the package. This is a very good product. I I think this is it. I think, like I said, I paid $190 tax, shipped and all. That's completely worth it for a brand new Bigfoot coil. It's more than reasonable. I don't think I would have paid over 200 for it, nor have I ever owned a Bigfoot because I don't think I would pay over 200 for a coil. But at the price, I was still kind of hesitant, but I have no regrets. This was, I think it was like 157, and then tax and shipping, it put me at about 190, but totally worth it. And I hope it's okay to talk about price. I'm just calling it as it is. And well, as promised you guys, I wanted to make this video. Uh, Metal detecting is a fun hobby. It's almost like scratching a lottery ticket every time you get a signal. I don't play lottery. I don't really, it's been years since I bought one. But I do metal detect, and every time I see a 22 or a 20, I wonder, is it going to be a nickel, a ring, or a pull tab? And then I dig that little hole in one quick, you know, I got one of those Lecce shovels, a little T-bar 36-inch. It's simple. I just pop the plug, there it is. And with the ratchet pinpointing on these machines, it'll tell you right where the object is, and you get the hang of it. And there's just no other company that's going to have me. I'm definitely loyal to Whites, even if they're out of business. So, all right, well, you guys have a blessed day. Pick up one of these on eBay if you can. Uh, the M6 is definitely the machine for a starter. So stay blessed, you guys. Have a great day.